Okay, thank you very much,
Charles.
Now back to our studios in Lagos, where we're going to be looking at electricity supply. I'm sure that is a subject that is very dear to the hearts of all Nigerians.
No, it's okay.
Whatever that was, I'm sure.
What I said was, I thought it was also very dear to your heart too, because you never fail to talk about it.
The World Bank has identified power, corruption, and access to finance as the bane of the private sector in Nigeria. And according to the bank, this has resulted in as high as 17 to 20% losses in sales recorded by Nigerian firms. Wow, that is huge for a businessman to be making that kind of loss. He won't be too happy to be in business. And to make matters worse rather than improving, power seems to just be getting worse. In fact, in the course of this week ending today, we heard that there was a near total collapse in the course of the week. Not to mention what happened last week when almost the entire nation was thrown into darkness because of the activities of
the unions.
The unions. And there's a comrade here representing those unions. It's my pleasure to welcome Comrade Pt.1, who is the president of the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Okpara.
Good morning.
Good. Also in the studio is Comrade. No, he's not a comrade.
Oh, he's a comrade.
George Itomi, who's a legal practitioner as well as being a director at the Eco Distribution Company. Thank you for coming, George.
I'm happy to be here.
Now, what is the situation of electricity supply now? Because we keep getting figures every day, and every day generation seems to be dropping. And some areas are in total darkness, and they've been in darkness for days on end.
Yeah, the figures will vary from day to day because we have two main sources, feedstock for power. You have the hydro, which supplies Kainji and Shiroro. And then you have the rest of them is our thermal plants, Afam, Ugeli, those are the where you have most of the feedstock.
And those are the smaller ones, aren't they?
Those are the big ones. And then Egbin, those are the generating sets. But they all depend on gas. And we've had in the last week, 10 days, a cocktail of factors that has affected this supply. Not mainly from the hydro base, but mainly from the gas base. The first has been pipeline vandalization, and it's still one of the most potent ones that we've had. Then we had the issue of the unions who shut down the National Control Center, and then we also had the
I'm sure Mr. Okpara is very proud of himself.
I'm sure they have good reasons for it, but that's one of the reasons we had that. And then there are also transmission issues. Like in the Eco Distribution Zone, we had a little bit of problem with the transmission line from Ajah to, from Egbin to Ajah, but that's been fixed. So you always have these things come from time to time, partly because a lot of these equipment require constant maintenance. TCN, for example, transports, they move all the power that's produced, and they really need to improve on most of the antiquated equipment that they have. It's still the weak link when we talk about the privatization, because the Gencos and the Discos under private management would have to bring in processes that would improve things. But then I also quickly add that assuming you have steady power supply, then distribution is also important. So a lot of distribution companies have to ensure that their network works very well
to carry what
to
comes
receive
in.
them, because right now we're all, as it were, blinded by supply problems, but distribution could be a problem. So in terms of making sure your feeders are working, your injection substations, your transformers, those are the things that can, even when you have power, create problems. So parts, when the privatization took place, there was a commitment over a period of time for us to reduce losses. Everybody accepted that this was a loss-making business, having been run by government for as long as they've done so. So in fact, your efficiency is actually measured in your ability to reduce these losses. And there were so many assumptions when we took over, based upon which those loss reduction targets were set. One of those assumptions is that we'll get power at a certain level. Initially, it was set at 7,500 megawatts. But as you realize, about a month ago, we hit about 5,000, which is the optimum we've ever done. That target was revised to 5,000 megawatts. But just as we were celebrating that, we got hit by this cocktail of factors that I mentioned to you, which has made sure that, in fact, there was time we lost the entire complement from the thermal plants, which has gas as its feedstock.
So we're just stuck with the hydro.
So we were, at that time, that was where we were down to like
within this
period. But yeah, within this period, that we lost the complements from the thermal plants because it's gas that's the feedstock. So we're now getting a slow restoration. Now, when you lose your full complement like that, it's called a systems shutdown. And once the system shuts down, it's a slow climb back to the optimum levels. And this is why you keep getting power comes and then before you know it, it goes off. And that's because the demand is far higher than what's available.
Yeah.
And we are still living with this pipeline vandalization. We hope they can do something about it. For example, for Cados, where Shell has its export line, it's been shut down because due to vandalization. So the export line that takes crude you can't pass the crude through, and if you don't pass the crude through, gas, you can't get gas because gas is associated with the crude, and it's the associated gas that's used to fire most of these thermal plants. So Egbin and Olorunshogo and many of them are having to be, you see, TCN tells them drop power, everybody's dropping so that they don't overload the system because the demand is far higher. So those are the issues that are affecting supply today. Now, is the future bleak? No. I think the future is bright. We're going to appeal to our labor friends to find a different way of protesting because I was talking to Beat just before we came in. I said, you may have a legitimate grievance, but shutting down a national control center should never be an option because you're punishing everybody.
I was going to ask
for whatever wrongs you feel should be corrected.
That's the question I was going to take to him, actually. So, I hope he's feeling very pleased with himself that they put the whole nation in darkness.
So besides the vandals, you and your union members should be arrested.
If you say so.
Well, he's holding his head down. So
are you repentant?
Yes.
I want to tell you something that before being a union member, I'm a Nigerian. I'm a worker in the power sector. I'm an engineer by profession. So I would even be more comfortable talking about power production and how it gets to people better than even talking about the labor side.
Okay, so maybe we should go back and let's leave the labor side.
Yes.
Tell us what the situation is now. Why is it that there seems to be a drop?
You see, what happened the other time was that labor was just lucky that there was a dangerous coincidence. Because the line from Olorunshogo to Egbe, I went to Ikeja West, the line from Benin to Egbe had faults at different points.
The transmission line or the supply line?
Transmission lines.
Okay.
And these faults is like equipment failure in different places, of which that it is verifiable. So, within the period, in fact, the fault happened even before the strike issue. The target was to picket Ikeja because of their level of impunity and the way they do things. And unfortunately, it had to affect other people. George, my friend, we have never picketed ECO before. We've never given them ultimatum before, since they took over. They are still in the power business. Somebody will ask, why should Labour wake up and then picket only Ikeja out of 11
You
companies?
just said he's your friend. Are you sure you're not biased?
Oh, sure. He's my friend. He knows.
No, I warned him before we came in. We're going to review this friendship. Because if you want to punish somebody and you punish me, I don't know how much friendship.
No. The only thing is that we are hit by a stray bullet. That's all.
No, you shut down the whole country.
You were hit by a stray bullet. So
You
we'll
shut
resolve
down-
that
no,
after.
And I told you that Labour you must rethink your strategy.
You know,
Because-
it is more important for us to develop the power sector
Yeah,
than yourself.
Look, I want
because
you to. I'd like you to match your words with your actions.
definitely
The
you are
truth-
saying it.
the
No, if
truth-
you are patient, you will hear
No,
me.
okay.
You know, I was
All right,
listening to
okay,
you.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
The point is that it is more important for us, for power sector to survive, than yourself, who is the owner, because you're already a big man. So whether it survives or not, you'll still be a big man. But the point is that the power sector is like the river where the fish